Welcome back, tribe. It's your girl Michelle here. We are literally doing another horror book haul, part 3. So I know some of you out there are probably like, how much money do you make? And the answer is not enough. Just in case you were wondering, it's not enough. So yes, had a little bit of a freak spending adventure in May. It was my birthday month, so I kind of let myself get a little bit too crazy. So to make up for that, I'm about to go 1 solid month, maybe 2, with no book buying. And I don't know if I can do it, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see if I can actually do it, because that would be good. It would be good to be an adult, you know, on occasion. So anyway, let's dive into this horror book haul part 3. I'm super excited about these little beauties. So let's just dive into it. Periodically, I'm going to insert little clips of me actually opening up the packages with these books in them while I talk to you about them. So let's just start from the top. So this is probably the most recent one. This is actually a much smaller book than I thought. It's called Anoka by Shane Hawk. Gorgeous cover, am I right? Gorgeous color. I said color. Cover. And color. Honestly, I'm digging the black and white, that kind of like graphic novel almost look to it. So let's read the synopsis. It says, welcome to Anoka, Minnesota, a small city just outside of the Twin Cities, dubbed the Halloween capital of the world since 1937. Here before you lie several tales involving bone collectors, pagan witches, werewolves, skeletal bison, and cloned children. It is up to you to decipher between fact and fiction, as the author has woven historical facts into his narratives. With his debut horror collection, Cheyenne and Arapaho, author Shane Hawk explores themes of family, grief, loneliness, and identity through the lens of indigenous life. Arapaho. I am so sorry. Like, I suck at pronouncing anything that is even remotely foreign to my tongue. So I do apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I absolutely love all things Native American. No, I'm not one of those people that tries to steal the Native American culture and dresses up as a Native American on Halloween. That's retarded. But I do have a very high respect and curiosity and slight obsession about the Native American culture. And I'm talking about all Native American cultures, not just one tribe or the other, just, as a whole. So the fact that this kind of blends Native American folklore with the quintessential horror, I mean, all I had to do was look at the cover to know I was gonna get this book, even if it wasn't even a horror book. So, I mean, look at it. It's adorable. It's a cute little read. I think it's gonna be super. I will probably sit down and finish this in an hour, 2 tops, just depending on how well I can actually focus, because this is only 107 pages. So, hell yeah. So yeah, this is the most recent one I purchased. I am waiting on one to come in the mail that I did purchase in May. So if you see me haul it or post it on my Instagram, it's not that I bought it in May, okay? It's that I ordered it in May and for some reason it got delayed. So I'll show it to you if it ever arrives. But yeah, this is book 1 of Horror Book Haul Part 3. The next one isn't exactly horror. It's part of a manga series that I recently got into, Jordaline, from Jordaline Reads. This is partially your fault, but it is also partially my boyfriend's fault, because he found this series while we were at Books A Million, and I loved the artwork. So I am a little sad right now because I'm waiting on volume 3 to be back in print, because volume 3 is out of print. So I think it's going to be towards the end of this month before I can actually order the 3rd one. But like I said, I'm not supposed to be ordering books this month anyway, so it's not a big deal. But this volume 2, is supposedly not supposed to be back in print for a couple of months. So my mom actually tracked this down for me at a local Barnes & Noble, and she bought it for me. So I love you, Mom. So if you're not familiar with the Girl from the Other Side series, this is a manga series. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. The author is... The author is this, okay? The author is this, okay? The author is Nagabe. Just read it, because I don't want to have to say it anymore. But anyway, volume 2 is actually out of print and off of the online services right now also. So thank you, Mom, I love you, because she bought like the last one I could find anywhere in person. So I haven't read this one yet. So I will be sitting down and reading that this month. I have read the first one. So I'm not going to spoil what volume 2 is about, but you need to start with volume 1, which I do have. It's this really adorable story about this character here, who is referred to as Teacher. He is considered an outsider. The outsiders are people who have been, I guess, put under either a curse or a plague. It's some kind of disease or whatever that turns them into these sketchy looking monster type creatures. And all of these people who are like part of the plague or whatever are pushed to the outside, hence the fact that they're called outsiders. Well, this little girl here, I believe her name is Shiva, she just randomly gets abandoned to the outside. And obviously nobody's gonna let her back inside, so she's basically just kind of abandoned. And a teacher takes it upon himself to take care of her. But the problem is he can't touch her at all. If she's touched by an outsider, supposedly she turns into one of these things. So he has to go about trying to take care of her, raise her, and all this stuff without touching her. Honestly, the first volume was so wholesome and cute while also having like this creepy, dark aesthetic. I fell in love, and I will be buying them all. Eventually. Someday. So I will be reading this one this month. So, I mean, it's not exactly horror, but it's so cute. And I do love dark fantasy style books. And I'm falling back in love with manga. Like I haven't read manga in a long time. So I am falling back in love with that. The next book, which is more like a novella, it's very short, very much a short story, is this beautiful, I just have to show it to you because look at the cover. Sour Candy by, is it Keelan or Kellen? Keelan Patrick Burke. I have heard so many good things about Keelan Patrick Burke. Like most of the booktubers that I obsess about and follow rave and rant about Keelan Patrick Burke. And this one in particular is a novella and a short story that I've heard nothing but good things about. I haven't heard anything bad about Sour Candy. So I wanted to start with this one mainly because of the cover, because look at it. It's beautiful. It is everything I've ever wanted in a horror cover, ever. So yeah, had to have it. And then there's just the description is really cool too. It says, at first glance, Phil Pendleton and his son Adam are just an ordinary father and son, no different from any other. They take walks in the park, visit county fairs, museums, and zoos, and eat together overlooking the lake. Some might say the father is a little too accommodating, given the lack of discipline when the child loses his temper in public. Some might say he spoils his son by allowing him to set his own bedtimes and eat candy whenever he wants. Some might say that such leniency is starting to take its toll on the father, given how his health has declined. What no one knows is that Phil is a prisoner, and that up until a few weeks ago, in a chance encounter at a grocery store, he had never seen the child before in his life. I, for the longest time, would not read anything or watch anything that had creepy children, just because something about it really disturbed me on like a psychological level. But honestly, I'm hearing such good things about this story and other stories that involve creepy children. I really want to give it a try and see if I can kind of stomach it. So, yeah, there you have it. Next, we have The Patient by Jasper DeWitt. This cover is gorgeous. I believe Zach from Zach's Books just recently read this. I will link all these people I'm talking about down below. He had a really good review for it. A lot of people had really good reviews for this book, and honestly, it's a type of book that I think if it's going where I think it's going, based on the synopsis, it's definitely a book I have to read. And if you haven't been watching my book reviews and book stuff, then you don't know why, but if you have, then you know why. So let's read the synopsis real quick. It says, in a series of online posts, Parker H., a young psychiatrist, chronicles the harrowing account of his time working at a dreary mental hospital in New England. Through this internet message board, Parker hopes to explain his effort to cure one bewildering patient. We learn, as Parker did on his first day, of the facility's most difficult and profoundly dangerous case. A 41-year-old man originally admitted to the hospital at age 6 with night terrors. This patient has no known diagnosis, and his symptoms have evolved over time in unusual ways. The only reliable factor, every person who has encountered him has been driven to madness or suicide. Desperate and fearful, the hospital medical director keeps the patient confined indefinitely, allowing only minimal contact with staff for their own safety. Parker, confident in his skills, is convinced he will be the one to cure what others cannot by figuring out what ails the suffering, enigmatic man. But when events spiral out of his control, Parker finds himself face to face with a possibility beyond his wildest imagining. So if you know me at all, or if you've watched any of my stuff, then you probably know that I'm hoping this goes to like a demonic possession place. Like, I'm really kind of hoping it goes there. But if it doesn't, it's still cool. I really like the fact that this is more of like a psychological horror novel. As you know, I'm kind of seeking my doctorate in forensic psychology, so I think this is just so cool. It kind of like combines horror with like juicy brain stuff. I promise I'm smart, like in certain areas, just not generally. Anyway, so yeah, very excited to see that one. The next two that I have are both by Darcy Coates. After reading The Haunting of Ashburn House, I just fell in love with her style of writing. And as I've often mentioned, I originally discovered Darcy Coates by watching Merce from Harpies in the Trees. She had really good things to say about Darcy Coates, and she kind of coined the term, I want to say it was creepy cozy, creepy, something like that. But it's definitely that type of vibe, that just creepy cozy vibe where like you're just reading it. It's a super easy read, but it's also creepy. It's not like super hardcore disturbing like some horror novels go, but it's just like this nostalgic good time of a horror novel. And a lot of it has to do with like your generic ghosts and haunted house type stories and tropes, but those I love. I love to burn through those on a rainy day. You know, I love to burn through those, especially around winter time. I don't know, it's beautiful. So anyway, I got The Haunting of Blackwood House, and then I got the Caro Haunt as well. Now the Caro Haunt is a little bit thicker, but they're about the same size, and they both look like The Haunting of Ashburn House. Now, one reason I'm gonna keep buying Darcy Coates, even if I don't particularly like one of her books, is because look at these covers with the spines. Look at them. Just look at them. They're freaking beautiful. They're gorgeous. The covers. But anyway, let me go through the synopsis of each. So for The Haunting of Blackwood House, it says, as the daughter of spiritualists, Mara's childhood was filled with seances and scam mediums. Now she's ready to start over with her fiance, Neil, far away from the superstitions she's learned to loathe. But her past isn't willing to let her go so easily. And neither is Blackwood House. When Mara and Neil purchased the derelict property, they were warned that ever since the murder of its original owner, things have changed. Strange shadows stalk the halls, doors creak open by themselves, voices whisper in the night, and watchful eyes follow her every move. But Mara's convinced she can't possibly be in danger, because ghosts aren't real, are they? I love it. I love it. I love everything about the synopsis. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love everything about the story. If it's anything like The Haunting of Ashburn House, I know I'll love it. So there's that one. And then with the Caro Haunt, it says, Remy is a tour guide for the notoriously haunted Caro House. When she's asked to host guests for a week-long stay in order to research Caro's phenomena, she hopes to finally experience some of the sightings that made the house famous. At first, it's everything they hoped for. Then a storm moves in, cutting off their contact with the outside world, and things quickly take a sinister turn. Doors open on their own. Seances go disastrously wrong. Their spirit medium wanders through the house at night, seemingly in a trance. But it isn't until one of the guests dies under strange circumstances that Remy is forced to consider the possibility that the ghost of the house's original owner, a twisted serial killer, still walks the halls. Did we say twisted serial killer? Because yes, just yes. So yes, I'm excited for both of these. I definitely want to like worm them into, I have like this weird system down where I'll read like, periodically I'll read out of a different anthology. If I have an anthology, I'll just read a random story here and there. And then I'll have like my main book that I'm reading for that week or that few days, however long it takes me. And then I'll have like an ebook I'm also reading. I don't know, I read multiple books at the same time. I don't know how, but they can't all be the same type. So I'll have like a demonic possession story going over here, a typical like haunted house ghost story going over here. I'll have a creature feature going over there. You know, like I like to kind of go in different systems. Like I don't like to read the same type of trope back to back to back. So I'll definitely space those out. So we still have quite a few. Bear with me, guys, bear with me. The next one is this novella by Brian Keene. Again with the covers. We're talking about with teeth. Look at the cover. Like, seriously look at it. I saw this on Instagram, or if you're a part of the Bookstagram community, Bookstagram, specifically horror Bookstagram, and I shit you not, I saw this cover, read the description, commented on the person's thing and was like, do you know what you just did? I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna mosey on over and order this now. And that's exactly what I did. Just based off the cover. I didn't even read the synopsis until later, but now I'm glad that I did order it because the synopsis sounds really cool. It says, for a group of middle-aged friends, the trip into the forest was supposed to be simple. All they had to do was find a place to set up their criminal enterprise and all of their financial problems would be solved. But now, night is falling, and with the darkness comes something else. Something fast, something ferocious, something with teeth. So that's exciting. I mean, this could go so many different ways. The cover makes me think vampire or Wendigo or something to that effect. But oh my god, I'm so excited. So excited for that one. Next, we have a couple from Christina Henry. So at first we have Near the Bone. I've heard really good things about this one. I've also had a few people say they were just kind of like about it. So, but the synopsis makes me really think that I'll enjoy this one. And it says, Maddie can't remember a time before she and William lived alone on a mountain together. She must never make him upset. But when Maddie discovers the mutilated body of a fox in the woods, she realizes that they're not alone after all. There's something in the woods that wasn't there before, something that makes strange cries in the night, something with sharp teeth and claws. When three strangers appear on the mountaintop looking for the creature in the woods, Maddie knows their presence will anger William. Terrible things happen when William is angry. Does anyone else already just on the synopsis alone get the feeling that William and the creature are somehow connected? Maybe that's just my brain like wanting it to go there, but I will do reviews on all of these as I read through them. It'll probably take me a few months to get through all the books that I've hauled with you guys recently. I'm very much looking forward to this one. And the next one by Christina Henry that I got is The Girl in Red. Now, I've had some people say that this one isn't quite a horror book. Some people say more like along the lines of dark fantasy. I read the synopsis and I just had to. Like, I had to. So here we go. It's not safe for anyone alone in the woods. There are predators that come out at night. Critters and coyotes, snakes and wolves. But the woman in the red jacket has no choice. Not since the crisis came. Decimated the population and sent those who survived fleeing into quarantine camps that serve as breeding grounds for death, destruction, and disease. She is just a woman trying not to get killed in a world that doesn't look anything like the one she grew up in, the one that was perfectly sane and normal and boring until 3 months ago. There are worse threats in the woods than the things that stalk their prey at night. Sometimes there are men with dark desires, weak wills, and evil intents. men in uniform with classified information, deadly secrets, and unforgiving orders. And sometimes, just sometimes, there's something worse than all the horrible people and vicious beasts combined. Red doesn't like to think of herself as a killer, but she isn't about to let herself get eaten up just because she is a woman alone in the woods. I love the female protagonist idea. I love like the weird twist on Red Riding Hood we have here. Like, it's not even Red Riding Hood, it's just kind of trinkets of Red Riding Hood throughout the story. So again, I'll let you guys know about that one once I get done with it. And I've saved the two books that I might be the most excited to read for last. They are both by Miss Anya Alburn. I hope I'm saying your name right. So first things first, we have The Shuttering. Look at this cover and just tell me, would you not buy it just for the cover? Whoever marketed her books, whoever markets your books, Anya, like who does this, keep them always because it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But anyway, these two descriptions of these two specific books, in case you haven't noticed, there's a running theme with a lot of the books I order. Creature features, forests, isolation horror, demonic possession, haunted house tropes. Like, those are the realms of my happy place. But anyway, let's get into the synopsis of The Shuttering. It says, a group of close friends gathers at a secluded cabin in the wintry mountains of Colorado for a final holiday hurrah. Instead, it may be their last stand. First, a massive blizzard leaves them marooned. Then the more chilling realization, something is lurking in the woods, watching them, waiting. Now a weekend of family, friends, and fun has turned into a test of love and loyalty in the face of inhuman horrors. The only hope for those huddled inside is to fight, tooth and nail, bullet and blade for their lives. Otherwise, they'll end up like the monster's other victims, bright pools of blood on glittering snow, screams lost in the vast mountains. I kind of went on a creature feature binge, in case you haven't noticed, like with the common theme in this haul. Like, I needed that. I need that. Anyway, last but not least, this book is probably the one that I am the most excited to read. I want to read it so bad ever since I heard the synopsis on... Actually, I've heard a lot of people talk about this book. Jordaline, I think, talked about it on Jordaline Reads. I don't quite remember. I know she mentioned it. Zach from Zach's Books mentioned it. I don't remember if Merce mentioned it from Harpies in the Trees, but I've been watching a lot of other booktubers too. I'll be sure to list all of them, all of them down below. And I've heard some good, some not so good things, but based on the synopsis alone, I just had to, and I'm so excited. This is The Devil Crept In by Anya Alburn. And I know that a lot of you are probably like, wow, this book came out like what, a couple of years ago? I think I might have that wrong. You haven't read this yet? In case you don't remember from my first horror book haul or whichever video it was, it's been a very long time since I've been reading new contemporary horror. I have lived for so long in the dark ages of only reading Gothic lit and a few Stephen King here and there that I really just lost touch with my passion for reading. I really just like completely lost touch with my obsession for books and all things horror themed. So thank you to all the booktubers that I've been mentioning, because honestly, you guys have reawakened a passion in me that I had long since forgotten. And ever since I started reading more, I feel better about life, mental health wise, all of that. Like, I just feel better. So I think it's good to just read and get lost in another world for a while and get out of your own head and into someone else's for a bit. I think that's actually healthy. And as someone who works in the mental health field, that might sound a little crazy, but I really think that it is a good thing to read or to have some kind of hobby that just gets you out of your own head. So yeah, anyway, synopsis for The Devil Crept In. Young Jude Brighton has gone missing, and while the search for him is in full swing here in the small town of Deer Valley, Oregon, the locals are starting to lose hope. They're well aware that the first 48 hours are critical, and after that, the odds usually point to a worst case scenario. And despite Stevie Clark's youth, he knows that too. He's seen the cop shows. He knows what each ticking moment may mean for Jude, his cousin and best friend. It's just like the stories from years ago of that boy, Max Larson, who was found dead after also disappearing under mysterious circumstances. And then there were the animals, pets gone missing out of yards. For years, the residents of Deer Valley have either murmured about or tried very hard to not talk of these unsolved crimes, or that a killer may still possibly be lurking around their quiet town. Now fear is reborn, and for Stevie, who is determined to find out what really happened to Jude, the awful truth may be too horrifying to imagine. Yes! Now, based off this synopsis alone, you would think more like true crime-esque or like mystery thriller. You know, not necessarily in the land of horror, but from what other booktubers have told me who have already read this book, there's a lot of horror that goes on inside. Some have hinted that it could end up being a creature feature, or it could end up being like a demonic possession thing. I don't know if that's the case. They just kind of hinted at it, or maybe my brain was just trying to fabricate that so that I would enjoy it. Regardless, I'm very excited to read this book, to read all of these books. These are authors that I have been hearing such good things about from just about every booktuber that I follow. So I'm super pumped. I will be doing book reviews for each of them as I get through them. It'll probably take me a few months to get through all these books, but you know, it's gonna happen. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have read these already and have an opinion on them that you'd like to share, leave those in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations for me on books you think I should read or books that you think I should eventually purchase, leave those down below. And I do have an Instagram account that, you know, I would love you guys to come follow me on. So I will leave the handle down below if I'm not able to leave the actual link. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, I mean, if you liked today's video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, comment, all that good stuff. Man, all that good stuff. But anyway, love you guys. Hope you stay safe out there. Hope you're enjoying your day. And I will see you guys in the next video.